It's a brain that remembers and feels and suffers. Yeah, totally. 6 minutes. Awesome. It's gonna be, you know what? It's gonna be really fun. It's gonna be really fun. I wish that we had had more time to troubleshoot and do it, but.
That isn't just an abstract intellect. It's a brain that remembers and feels and suffers. It isn't just an abstract intellect. Remembers and feels and suffers. It's a brain that remembers and feels and suffers.
everyone. Welcome to the Shouting Hour. This week with Terry, Dave Mulligan, and Sean Holland. Our guest this week is Colin Linden, the one, the only.
Woo. Colin, how you doing?
So great, Terry.
Terry, how you doing?
John.
I'm doing really well, man. I'm doing so well. Colin and I have known each other a long time, and I'm glad that you're meeting him on this level and talking on the show because it's fantastic. You are in Nashville, Colin?
I am. I'm in my studio at Pinhead Recorders here in Nashville, Tennessee.
And that's what are you playing? What's that guitar? We might as well do the nerd thing.
This is my main guitar. This actually lived on Vancouver Island at one point. It's a Regal, a 1937 Regal wood body resonator guitar given to me by Linda McRae, formerly from Spirit of the West.
Yep.
And for the last 23 and a half years, it's been my main guitar. I've played it on probably 100 records. I've played it in every good place I've ever been with every good artist I've ever played with.
Wow. So that's your desert island material?
Well, this is the guitar it gave me. It's given me so much in terms of inspiration and sounds that I get on this.
Terry, where are you? Are you in Florida?
It's I'm in the Esquimalt outside of Victoria, and this is the only palm tree that I have seen in town. And I'm sitting. I just decided if it's there, we might as well use it as a prop. It's a great piece of green, right?
It's a good prop. It's a real tree, right?
Now, here's the thing. I know that you wanted to talk about the Edmonton Folk Festival, and you were asking about stories, and one of those stories is about Colin. So, what's your memory of Edmonton Folk Fest?
I've got a lot. I've got a lot that I can't say because my parents watched this. But the most recent was 2016. I was coming from a really crappy festival in northern Saskatchewan. And we were going through Edmonton to go home, and we had not been invited to the Edmonton Folk Fest, but Kari McClellan and the Sojourners were playing. 2016, Colin was up there, and you were bringing your new recruit Sam Palladio on the road, and I ended up crashing the Edmonton Folk Fest and sneaking in. I got a backstage pass that year. And ended up buddying up, unbeknownst to me, with Sam, and I became friends with Sam. And then it was through that, the connection over the weekend. He's like, "Yeah, well, Colin Linden brought me here," and I realized that I knew nothing about your whole Nashville life that you'd been producing, and for the last since like 2012.
Exactly.
So that was, I had a fantastic weekend. Sam allowed me to have conversations with some of the most beautiful women I'd ever met. Thank you, Sam, for that. And that's my PG one. What do you got, Terry?
Well, mine, a couple. When you sit in the CKUA tent and you make a wish list and say, "This is who I'd like to talk to," you never know who's going to drive up. So I'm sitting there and a golf cart comes closer and closer and closer. I can see it coming out of the corner of my eye. And sitting in the front seat of that golf cart was Solomon Burke.
Oh, wow.
And he just sat there. I walked out. I had a room mic. I went out, talked to him, got as much of his history as I could and just some stories. They started up the golf cart and off he took. About 12, 15 minutes later. It was unbelievable. And I love the man. And frankly, it reminded me that I have a Solomon Burke interview that I haven't run. I was so crushed by his death. It's still in the bank, and I'm going to run it. It's time to run it now. It was the last one he did at Willie Mitchell's studio. But the story I really want to tell you about is I love the fact that Amos Garrett's there. I can talk to him every year. But Colin and I hadn't seen each other since Richard Bell died. The great pianist that played with him and Janice and the band and everybody. Yeah. An incredible human being. So in the middle of the traffic flow with hundreds of people going by us, I'm blathering like an idiot. It's an unspoken moment, the two of us missing this Richard Bell, this wonderful man, in the cacophony of noise and hot dog vendors and people going by. That moment I remember more than any, Colin.
Wow.
Well, that was a fantastic thing. Richard and I actually had a few really great times playing together at the Edmonton Folk Festival over the years. And where I'm sitting now, Terry, about 15 feet to my left is Richard's B3.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's here. And we played together for 18 years. We had one of the really great times that we had at Edmonton was playing there in 1997. And we played, I had just made the National Steel with Colin James. And we were supporting National Steel, and I had Richard come out and play. And Richard and I ended up actually playing with Ron Hines as well that weekend. And we ended up playing, and it was Blackie's first time out, so I played with Blackie as well. And we went right from Edmonton to New Orleans, where we recorded our album Raised by Wolves in 1997. It was a really happy memory. Richard did the horn arrangements for that, and we had a bunch of great New Orleans horn players play on it. So that was a really, really happy memory. I have a few of them from that festival. One of them was from that same Solomon Burke year. I got to play one song, but it's been documented. It's been on a few records. A live recording with Wilson Pickett.
No kidding.
Really fantastic. Courtesy of Eric Bibb and Linda Tillery and her group.
Wow.
Wow.
Linda Tillery.
So it was
Wow.
really. And another really happy memory was 1988, closing the Saturday night show. My band with Rick Danko and Garth Hudson.
Oh my God.
And it was really just an absolutely wonderful night, and really happy memories from that. So a lot of happy memories at that festival.
Wow. That's incredible. Hey, I got a question for you. Rick Danko, did you guys, because you did a bunch of records in the 80s with the existing form of the band, right? With Garth Hudson, Rick Danko, Levon Helms. Did you guys co-write at all back then?
Rick and I actually did write some songs. I don't know that they've ever seen the light of day. Most of the ones that did from around that era, I ended up writing with Jimmy Weeder, who was their guitar player from 1985 until December of '99. And Jimmy was one of Richard Bell's best friends. And that's how I met Richard, was through Jimmy.
Wow.
And then of course, Richard, we became instant best friends for 18 years. But Jimmy and I wrote the song Remedy, which was I think the biggest song the band had in their second, in their later stage. And they were very kind to me. They brought me into their world. And Rick sang on 13 songs on my solo albums, and I had him. He was kind enough to sing on a number of things I produced, and we did a ton of gigs together. And Garth was wonderful too. Levon was great too, really great to me. All those guys.
I want to ask about Bob Dylan, because one of the one-offs that you did was you went on the road with Dylan live playing in the band. He's what is he, 79 today?
79 today.
What do you think? I mean, his legacy, no matter what any one of us say, his legacy is in cement for time.
Yeah.
But your thoughts just on Dylan's place, or perhaps those moments in the band?
Well, suffice to say that I made a bunch of friends in that period who I still consider great friends. And Bob is the best band leader I ever worked for, hands down. In terms of, he's such a great musician. Everybody knows how great he is at all the things that are obvious songwriting. He's one of the great singers of our time, I think. One of the most beautiful phrasing and such artistry as a singer, and as somebody who can interpret music, and I can't say enough great things about him. And it was the greatest thing ever to get to play with him.
Wow. Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
I just want to no, because I know he's going to get into a tune here. I'm kind of, Shawn, I'm kind of needing to know, because we did an interview. There's a great lead up to the fact that this is Blackie and the Rodeo Kings' 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
And the whole year has gone sideways, 2020. So what's happening to that 25th tour and the celebration?
Well, let me tell you, one of the most definitive things about Blackie and the Rodeo Kings was Tom Wilson saying to me when we were making, I think the album was Let's Frolic. He said, you know, we can't have any more than 10 songs on this record. And he made me a list of the ones he thought. And his way of numbering it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that says everything you need to know about Black and the Rodeo Kings' 25th anniversary. Because really, the 25th anniversary, the band started in December of '95. So sort of technically 2020 is our anniversary, but so is 2021. The first time we ever did a gig, first time we ever made a record was 2021. So the anniversary will be 2021. So 2021, fine.
Yeah.
6767, it's fine.
So hey, what tune do you want to throw? We should cut to a song, eh?
Okay, sure. Well, do you want me to? I wasn't going to do King of This Town, but I would if you'd like to. I kind of thought about it earlier, but
well, what else would you do if you didn't do King of This Town?
I would do Don't Let Go.
Yes. Yes, I vote for Don't Let Go. I vote for both, but Don't Let Go would be great.
Could you do a medley?
I might need your help with the lyrics because they were on my computer, and my computer just kind of went back to, I don't want to have to bend over and find it. But also, I might need your help out there in a live stream land singing the backups on the Don't Let Go part.
Oh, got to do that. Okay.
I've really done this on my own before, but I could try it. Should I just start playing?
Yes.
Hear that whistle, it's 10 o'clock. Don't let go, don't let go. Come on, baby, it's time to rock. Don't let go, don't let go. I'm so eager, I'm nearly dying. Don't let go, don't let go. You've been keeping your lips from mine. Don't let go, don't let go. Ooh-wee, oh, this feeling is killing me. Oh, shucks, I won't stop till I get enough. I love you so. Hold me tight and don't let go. Hold me tight and don't let go. Thunder, lightning, wind, and rain. Don't let go, don't let go. Love is pounding inside my brain. Don't let go, don't let go. I'm so eager, I'm nearly dying. Don't let go, don't let go. You've been keeping your lips from mine. Don't let go, don't let go. Ooh-wee, oh, this feeling is killing me. Oh, shucks, I wouldn't stop for $1,000,000. I love you so. Just hold me tight and don't let go. Hold me tight and don't let go. Hold me tight and don't let go. Yeah. One day, baby, you'll quit me, yeah. Don't let go, don't let go. I'll be howling and soaking wet. Don't let go, don't let go. Just the one thing I never stand. Don't let go, don't let go. know your lips kissing some other man. Don't let go, don't let go. Ooh-wee, oh, this feeling is killing me. Oh, shucks, I wouldn't stop for $1,000,000. I love you so. Just hold me tight, don't let go. Hold me tight, don't let go. Hold me tight, don't let go. Hold me tight.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Shawn, you got to turn your mic back on again. I muted you. Sorry, buddy.
Fantastic, fantastic. That is unbelievable. But the call and response, all those voices, kind of goes with that song, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Yes. Well, our guest on the Shouting Hour is the one and only Colin Linden. You know him from Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. You should know that he is a Grammy winner, and we'll talk about that in a moment. That's a long time coming. But how many albums with Bruce Cockburn?
10 that I've produced, and I've played on a couple others.
Wow.
And there's a new one coming? No, there's a new one here.
A new one, the newest one came out in September. So it's been a few months. An instrumental album called Crowing Ignites.
That's right. But I see bubbling under that there's something happening there.
There's actually that I've just supervised a vinyl box set.
That's what it is.
That encompasses his first album, which sounds unbelievable on vinyl, and The Charity of Night and Breakfast in New Orleans, Dinner in Timbuktu, which are the first two that I produced, and they sound amazing on vinyl.
So Breakfast in Timbuktu, where was that recorded? That's a hot record.
We did that. We tracked it at a studio in Toronto that's no longer there called Reaction. We did overdubs. We did some of the overdubs here in Nashville, actually, at a place called the Doghouse. We did some at a studio. We did quite a lot at a little studio in Liberty Village in Toronto called the Gas Station, which I worked at a lot in the day. And we mixed it at Sound City, which is kind of a famous studio now. They made Dave Grohl made a movie about it.
Yeah. That's
It was a beautiful studio, and that was where we mixed Breakfast in New Orleans. We did some of the overdubs at that point too.
That's the famous board that Dave Grohl took after that film. That's what I got from that documentary.
Yeah. It's good that somebody got it. There were two great ones. I think he got the one in A. We mixed it on the one in B that I believe was at one point. It was Sylvia Robinson's board.
Okay, all right. You guys are going to geek out.
Are we nerding out too much, Terry?
Because if you get into guitars, we've lost it, Liam. We've totally lost it. Now let's get back to a couple of things. You opened Pinhead a couple of years ago. It must have been a gem to have that studio in your backyard, basically. Who came through, and where was the highlight?
Oh gosh, really? You know what? There've been a few highlights. One of the really great highlights, though, unquestionably, and the reason that we built it was so that Blackie and the Rodeo Kings could do King of This Town. And we did the whole top to tail here. And it was really my wife, Janice Marion Curry Alexander Powers. That's all one person. She built it from the ground up. And the litmus test was, can we make a Blackie record here? So it was terrific. We actually recorded. It's great. I did, just before we did the Blackie album, I did a bunch of demos with Lucinda Williams. And they ended up, for the album, working with a great producer, friend of mine, named Ray Kennedy, who produced Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. But they ended up, for their vinyl release of Lou's new album, side 4 of the vinyl are some of the demos that we did here. So I'm glad that some folks will get to hear those. So that was a big thrill to do that here. We did a bunch of Bruce's record, Crowing Ignites, here, which was great. I worked with a couple of artists from BC.
Who'd you work with from BC?
David Boxcar Gates.
Oh, no way! Yeah, he's fantastic.
He is fantastic. And I worked with a woman from White Rock, and the record I don't think is out yet. And her name is Karen Fader, and we had a great time working there. And gosh, I've done an awful lot of work here. It's been fantastic.
Terry, you're muted. You're you're still muted.
Winning,
There you are.
let's get to the Grammy-winning Oklahoma album you did with Kevmo.
We did some of that here. But actually, we didn't do very much of it here. We did most of it at Kevmo's studio as well, which is about half an hour down the road from here.
Okay.
So that does that mean that you're not going to accept the Grammy?
Oh, I'll accept the Grammy. I produced the record, so I'm on it. Although I must say, Kevmo is such a he's got such clarity and drive and focus on what he wants. You know, in a lot of ways, I think my main function producing a record for him was just to be able to be there and do some of the things that he, that he could do, but he wanted to have another set of ears on it. And we had a great time working on it. He and I have been friends for over 25 years now.
Wow.
And we've written songs together, and I've played on several of his records. And we're just great friends. And I think that he had done so much work. He just really wanted to have somebody who he could count on who did this thing a lot to be there with him. And I was honored to have been asked to produce it. And I was thrilled that we got a Grammy for it. And Janice and I went to the Grammys with Kevin and his wife, and had a fantastic time.
Have you got a song from that album you might want to lay on us?
I do. Shortly into the making of the record, Kevin said to me, he said, "Hey, tomorrow morning, come in early, and Chip Eston's going to come over." Now, Chip Eston is Charles Eston, who is the male lead of the TV show Nashville, who I work very closely with throughout the whole show, and I continue to work closely with him, and he's a great friend of mine. And he and Kevin are friends. He said, "Let's write a song together tomorrow morning and record it in the afternoon." And I said, "Sure." So we show up at 10 in the morning, and Kevin says, "Okay, we're going to write a song about how there's too much plastic in the world. We have to do this. I've said that I'm going to do something for the efforts to clean up plastic," which was the furthest thing from my mind that we were going to end up writing about.
Yeah.
So we ended up writing this song, and Kevin said, "Okay, Taj Mahal's coming over this afternoon. Let's get him to play on it."
Wow.
So Taj plays bass on it, I play guitar, Kevin plays mandolin, and it's on the record. And I'd like to play it for you. When we decided that we were going to make up this song, I came up. I had a bit of an idea for a couple of the words, and I said it's got to be a jug band song. So immediately, both Kevin and Chip just went nuts on it. Anyhow, so this is how it goes. This is called "Don't Throw It Away." Leo B had a big idea, something that would last for 1,000,000 years. So someday we will all disappear, but the big idea, it'll still be here. You got to use it again, baby, don't you throw it away. Who could imagine everything it would bring? You can turn that plastic into any old thing. It's so convenient, you just can't beat it, till it gets in the ocean and the fish start to eat it. You use it again, baby, don't you throw it away. A turtle can't swim and a bird can't sing when they're stuck in the hole of a six-pack ring. We got bottles and bags, caps and cups. We got too much stuff. We got to clean it all up. You got to use it again, baby, don't you throw it away. Well, the face of the planet, as far as I can see, well, it could use just a little the plastic surgery. starting a mess. How it all turns out is anyone's guess. I use it all the time, I must confess. But if I care a little more, then maybe I'll use a little less. You got to use it again. Baby, don't you throw it away. 'Cause it's a beautiful world. Baby, don't you throw it away.
Wow.
Hey, am I getting here? Should I turn on the light?
Yeah, check it out. Check out the light.
Let's see that.
Oh, wow.
Whoa!
Where'd this guy come from?
I got the little ring here. So.
Wow, looks good.
There you go. You
This
look
is
tan.
this is our next guest. Colin Light.
I wish I had one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, thank you, Colin. By the way, this is Shawn Hall, Colin Linden, myself, Liam Montgomery, and we are we're doing this every Sunday at 5 Pacific. I got a list of things a mile long, but I want to get to something, Shawn, if it's okay with you. You want to ask one question before I get at it?
Do I get one, sir? Do I?
Yeah, man.
Actually, I'm curious. We all know Holger Peterson, president of Stony Plain Records, Saturday Night Blues, and that legacy on CBC. I was reading, and I rarely read band bios, but now I am. Holger Peterson booked your tour for you when you were 17 across Western Canada.
Yep.
He was a booker.
Well, he wasn't really. He had the radio show on CKUA already at that point.
Okay.
And they would bring in people to do recording sessions, like to play for like an hour for the show. And I had met Holger at the Winnipeg Book Festival in '75 when I was 15. And he recorded me playing with Sam Chapman from the Mississippi Cheeks.
Did he have a booth back then?
It was really, he had a microphone and a tape machine. And he was about to interview Sam, and Sam and I were sitting around. I already knew Sam by that point. So he and I were sitting around playing. Holger recorded it. And I met him, and he was very, very nice to me. Then he came to Toronto when my brother Jay was working for RPM magazine, and they had become friendly. And Holger told me about his radio show, and I had just and had left home, and Holger said, "Look, if you ever want to come out and play, I'd love to have you on the radio show, and I know a few people out west. I could look for some gigs for you." So he just did it out of kindness of his heart. He didn't really do it as a booker, but he did it as a friend. And over the years, I can think of so many times in my life, and periods of time where nobody was interested in doing stuff with me, like a different period of time, and he would always, would always be supportive and helpful, and great to me to this day, and I love that.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Thank you for that. I didn't know that about Holger.
Hey, Shawn.
Yeah,
that show on CKUA, the one that I follow.
Oh,
Holger
yeah.
Peterson's Blues Show.
Yes.
Is 45 years old. He's been doing 45 years. He's been doing that show, and that's what I get to follow. That's how cool it is.
But you've been doing it 21 years, right?
25. Thank you so much for doing your research on that. So now let me tell you about this man, our special guest, Colin Linden. And the first time that he was a fanboy, he was eight years old, Colin.
Yep.
And you snuck into a club. What was the name of the club?
Oh, 8. I was 11 when I met Howlin' Wolf. And that was the Colonial Tavern. I was 8 the first time I went to a concert, which was Jimmy, by the way. But and I went to a lot of concerts after that. But in terms of sneaking into a club, it wasn't even really sneaking because it was licensed for minors in the balcony, and it was the Colonial Tavern in Toronto, which was kind of a place that the people on the shadier side of life in Toronto liked going to. It was sort of a place where they could relax and have a good time. So it was the Colonial Tavern. The date was November 27th, 1971. And I went to see Howlin' Wolf at a matinee. And I got there hours early because I wanted to make sure I could get there. And I saw the wolf, and I made a beeline for him. And I said he was actually downstairs, so I snuck through well, I went through the balcony, and there was a set of stairs that led to the stage, and Wolf was just sitting by the stage. And I went through the balcony, down those stairs, and I said, "Mr. Wolf, you're my hero, and I'm only 11, but I'd love to talk with you. Would you come upstairs? They won't let me downstairs. So would you come upstairs and talk with me?" He said, "Sure." So we spent the rest of the afternoon. I guess he had lunch and wasn't going to go back to the hotel before his show, and which was 3:30. And so we spent the afternoon talking. And then from then on, every time he came to Toronto, he always took time for me. It was really good.
Wow, that's an incredible.
Right. That's the story I wanted you to know. Shawn, before I get to the next forthcoming album, you got another question you want to squeeze in there?
Who, me? Well, I don't know where you go from Howlin' Wolf, but anyone, can you tell me geographically? I won't nerd out too hard, but was the Colonial, was that on Yonge Street?
It was on Yonge Street between Dundas and Queen Street on the east side. There's a little parquet where that was now, next to a.
Okay, no further questions. All right, Terry, you're good. You're good.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you so much. I asked you in my hard-hitting, incisive pre-interview about what's coming. I mean, because you got Blackie, you got to work King of This Town, but you have a solo career as well. So where's that going?
Well, I had a record that I started. Really, the first few tracks we did a couple years back, and I knew that it was going to be a work-intensive project. And I'd been thinking about it. It had been on the back burner. Mostly, it had just been percolating in my mind how I wanted to finish it. I'm within about a week or a week and a half of being done, I think. And it's going to be an electric blues album, which is something I've never done before. Although I've played that kind of music for all these years. And the record's going to be called Blow. And it started with a bunch of source music I did for a television show called Happen Leonard. That the music supervisor asked me to come in and just come up with a bunch of music that they could use for it. And the show takes place, I guess it's been canceled now, but it was on for 3 seasons. And they used some of my music in, I think, all 3, but maybe it's only on 2 seasons, on the Sundance Channel. And the show takes place in Texas, by the Texas-Louisiana border. And that was a very fertile time for blues and rhythm and blues music, and Zydeco and soul music and all kinds of great stuff that was going on then. So I started with that as a palette and came up with maybe 20 pieces of music that all kind of had a bit of that style to it. And it was a real different way of playing guitar than I've done on records very much, although I do it all the time. And it was really fun to do it. After I did it, I thought there was maybe 10 pieces that sounded like they were songs that didn't have lyrics or structure yet. And I kind of thought, I want to take these tracks and turn them into songs. And that's how the record started. So about, I think, 6 of the songs from that are going to make up half of the record, or a little more than half of the record. And then subsequently, I've finished it with other songs that I've written that have been kind of in that style, written or co-written, kind of in that style.
Now, Shawn, I'm not exactly telling you anything out of school. You know all this stuff, but these names, you think about the Texas blues players. It's that mix of Cajun and Creole. It's Hispanic. It's strangely enough, it's fiddle music coming from the Maritimes, but that's buried. Lightning Hopkins, Albert Collins, Johnny Copeland, Johnny Guitar Watson, T-Bone Walker, Stevie Ray, the Vaughn brothers, Gatemouth Brown, Pee Wee Creighton, Freddie King, Mance Lipscomb, Lil Son Jack, all those guys in one beautiful moment in Texas in the 80s.
Yeah, Juke Boy Bonner.
Wow.
He's a heavy guy. He was great. And yeah, definitely I love that kind of playing. And it was something that, in some ways, having not even a limit for yourself, but some goalposts that you want to aim for, just stylistically. Let's do songs that kind of feel like this. They really help you. And it was an interesting thing because I worked with a rhythm section, a bass player who named Dave Jakes, who I'd played with quite a few times before, played with John Prine for about 25 years, and a drummer who I've only played with a couple of times named Paul Griffith, a Louisiana guy. And they played real officially, and they really laid down the gauntlet. And it was a cool thing because, of course, finished the record with my very best pals, John Diamond and Gary Craig, who the three of us are the Rotting Matadors.
Yeah.
And also the rhythm section in Blackie and the Rodeo Kings. And but we kind of had a style that we were sort of aiming for, and it was really cool.
I got a trick question. Not a trick question. Of the four kings, you're having a dinner party. You got Freddie, Albert, BB. Who's the fourth? Help me out, from New Orleans, left-handed guitarist. Earl King. Which one are you inviting to your barbecue?
Oh man.
And why?
BB.
Yeah.
Okay.
BB always makes you feel at home.
Okay.
I never met Freddie. I heard he was great. I met Albert to shake his hand, and he was sweet as can be, and I loved both of their playing. I didn't know BB well, but I met him a handful of times, and one of the greatest things I found about him is that he was the most gracious. He was a true king, I think, he was such a gracious man, and he made everybody around him feel like they were welcome. One of the last times I saw him was he had a club in Memphis, and they opened one in Nashville too, and he would do 2 nights at each of his clubs in the early 2000s, and I remember going there. It must have been 2004 or 2005 for his birthday, and my friend Gary Nicholson was on stage with him. BB had recorded some of Gary's songs, and Gary held up his guitar and pointed to me, and BB immediately waved me on stage, and I got to spend 45 minutes playing. And other guitar players came and went, and he made everybody feel like they were part of the family. It was what a wonderful person. So he'd be the one who I would invite first, although he would probably say, why don't we invite Freddie and Albert? Earl never gets the credit he deserves. Let's invite them all.
Yeah. I got you. Thanks.
I got to ask BB a question backstage at the Orpheum Theater. I said, how come no background horn? Now, how about no horn players with you? He said, no, because the band are the horn player. No, I got that wrong. I was saying, why no background singers? Why no call and response vocals coming back at you? He said, because the horns are the background singers. The horns become those singers that would be answering me back and forth. It got me to, and then I went back and listened to his music. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. He was incredible. He was, sometimes when someone's style is so recognizable and so omnipresent, I think sometimes people forget how amazing they are. And BB, I think, he was, no matter how great people say he was even better, I think.
What I didn't know at the time was I had his box set with me backstage. He signed that damn thing. When I got up to check out my equipment, he had signed the inside book. And I didn't discover it till years later when I opened it up and look, because I never look at the book. I always go for the record. Fantastic. You got a tune there that leads to all of this?
Yeah, I do. In this mode, I do. On one hand, I could do King of This Town because we talked about that. But
yeah,
specifically, let's maybe go somewhere different.
Okay.
Let's maybe go somewhere different. Shawn had mentioned playing Hooks in the Water, and maybe I'll play that one, if that's all right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
can't find my line. My hook's in the water and I can't find my line. I believe to my soul that I'm running out of time. My hook's in the water, I'm afraid that it might drown. My hook's in the water, I'm afraid that it might drown. I keep on sinking, I'm spinning all out and down. Lift me up, brother man, I am lost in the sand. I am caught in the rocks far below. With the laugh of the loon and the light of the moon, my hook's in the water and I got no place to go. The night's coming on and I feel like a castaway. The night's coming on and I feel like a castaway. I make my prayers but I can't find words to pray. Lift me up, brother man, I'm lost in the sand. I'm caught in the rocks far below. With the laugh of the loon and the light of the moon, my hook's in the water and I got no place to go. There's gonna come a time when the river's gonna rise up high. There's gonna come a time when the river's gonna rise up high. And if I can't swim, I'll find me a way to fly. Lift me up, brother man, I am lost in the sand. I am caught in the rocks far below. With the laugh of the loon and the light of the moon, my hook's in the water and I got no place to go. My hook's in the water and I got no place to go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colin.
I'm so glad you asked for that, Shawn. Thank you so much. Now,
that's
here's
beautiful.
the thing. We got to watch our clock here. I know that we would probably keep going for a couple hours, but here's the deal. I have to pick up Italian food from Pagliacci's in Victoria, which is the great restaurant in Victoria. Okay. And you have part two of your takeout meal to consume. I don't know what Liam's up to. I know there's probably the kitchen's going in the background. Shawn, you may have plans as well. And I know maybe we can squeeze one more song out of this, but I just want to thank the people who gave me this set and this tree. They planted the tree specifically. Peter James Woodworks in Esquimalt. Peter James Woodworks. Thank you. He's my son-in-law, and he builds things. This deck that I'm sitting on. And he gave me this wonderful drink to go with
Oh,
hey, look at that.
Wow. Look at that.
with a straw. You know, Colin, this is what you do. You lay your hands on that instrument and you're transported. You weren't with us when you did that last third of that song. You were somewhere
No.
else.
Yeah, you were somewhere else for sure.
Well, hopefully it was a good place. It felt good to be there, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I can feel your room. I felt with these headphones on, there's parts that you hit there that I didn't feel like I needed to walk a dog or tend my kids. So that's a angelic feeling.
Good.
Pinhead Studios.
That's it.
What do you want?
Amazing.
Now listen, I know that you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Old Soul.
Most of it is, I guess. I've just been wanting to play so much. This is the longest I've been without being on a stage in 48 years.
Yeah.
And and I don't think I know that I'm not alone in this, but I just wanted to be able to play for people every day if I could, or at least every few days. So I've recorded stuff from here, songs I like mostly, not necessarily a couple new ones that I made up and a couple old ones I haven't played in a long time, but mostly just whatever I feel like playing. And that's gone up on the YouTube channel, and Hockey Rodeo Kings puts it up on the YouTube channel too. We're all family, I would love it if you saw that stuff. It's actually really fun doing it.
Shawn,
I can't. Oh, you muted.
Oh, you're back.
Go ahead, Terry.
how much have you loved this?
This has been incredible. This is this is kind of a dream come true, and this is the next best thing to performing for myself. And I, like yourself, I have done the most ridiculous things in the last 2.5, 3 months, trying to find those highs from the road, and this is probably one of the safer, more enjoyable things to be able to connect with folks like you. It's a real pleasure.
Oh, well, pleasure is mine. And I got to say, I feel so honored to be part of the music community. All of my friends who are musicians, so many of them I've known for so many years. People who love music and are listeners or players or presenters who are drawn to music. We do actually have something really in common. And I think that's really borne out in the last few months this year.
Yeah.
Hey, Shawn,
Yes.
I've talked to Colin over the years many times, and no matter what we're talking about, if it's a festival, if it's an album, if it's a personal, whatever, we always get to this moment. What are you drinking? I got the Velvet Devil, Charles Smith, who, by the way, was a roadie when he went through Walla Walla, Washington on tour, and discovered that it looked like Bordeaux and what he wanted to grow in, and he became a winemaker.
Wow. What do you got there, Liam?
This is a 19 Crimes Cabernet Sauvignon from Australia, 2018.
All right.
One of my
Nice.
favorite. And they have that augmented reality app, so this guy talks when you hold it up to your phone, which is pretty amazing. Just check it out.
That's
Shawn?
crazy.
Love this.
Well, I know that you guys are Pinot territory, so this is a California Pinot Noir that's slightly affordable for musicians on the government drip.
Hey,
So
Colin?
it's a Long Barn Pinot Noir.
Nice.
Well, maybe they'll sponsor our next show, and then you won't have to be on the government drip for so long.
Colin, what are you drinking?
I am drinking.
Oh.
I found a 2006 Yountville Napa Syrah. It's called Rocco Family Vineyard. I think subsequently, in the last 10 years or so, it's been bought by another company. I forget, it's another family vineyard. But this particular one is Rocco Family, and it's ROCCO. And I should have brought the bottle in here with me, but it's a 2006. I got 6 bottles of it through this online wine dealer my online wine dealer Vivino sold it to me, not Jimmy Vivino. I was thinking that for a lot of my quarantine meals, because Janice and I've been cooking almost all the time. Having something sort of mid-tempo, like a Merlot or like a Syrah or like a good blend, would be a good bet. So I've been digging in as much as I can, and if I see something good, I'll go and get it.
That's amazing. Everybody needs a good wine dealer during COVID. That's a
Great line.
And it's legal.
and it's legal. It's true.
Colin, whatever you plan to do for 2021, whether it's Black Day and the Rodeo Kings, your the solo album Blow that's coming, whoever you produce, whoever you play with, just make it the best year of your life, because you can make up for all of this lame ass stuff that's going down.
Suffice to say, I sure hope to see everybody out there, and I hope we all get through it okay. And I really thank you for calling me to do this, because it's really so great to see you.
What's your website?
I think it's colinlinden.com.
That should be pretty recognizable.
Right there, colinlinden.com on screen now.
Thank
Check
you so
it out.
much. Hey,
By the way, this whole session has been photographed by Kate Javon Photography. She owns the tree.
All right. Colin, you want to play us out with something?
A little bit of a playing thing?
Yeah. Just a little.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You've been listening. Oh. Yeah, you go.
Okay, thank you, everybody.